A ruthless mind is not about cruelty, it's about becoming unstoppable. It's the kind of mind that forces people to pause, that makes them think twice before challenging you. It's sharp, disciplined, and strategic, cutting through chaos while others stumble. It's the power of control, the mastery of thought, the ability to stay calm when everyone else panics. When you harness it, people sense it without you saying a word. This mind doesn't react. It calculates. It doesn't fear. It prepares. It doesn't wait. It acts with precision. And today, you're going to learn how to build that kind of unshakable, commanding mental strength. Most people confuse ruthlessness with being cruel or harsh, but that's a misconception. True mental ruthlessness isn't about hurting others. It's about mastering yourself in every situation. It's about cultivating a mind so disciplined, so strategic, and so composed that no circumstance or person can shake it. It's the kind of strength that allows you to face challenges without panic, make decisions without hesitation, and act with purpose even when chaos surrounds you. Mental ruthlessness is the combination of self-control, foresight, and resilience. It's knowing how to manage your emotions instead of letting them manage you, and it's about turning pressure into clarity. When you build this kind of mind, every move you make becomes deliberate, every reaction calculated, and every decision grounded in strategy rather than impulse. It's about thinking several steps ahead of everyone else, anticipating outcomes before they even become apparent, and using every observation as an advantage. People will feel your presence, your quiet authority, without you ever raising your voice. They will respect your boundaries because your mind is a fortress they cannot breach. This is not arrogance. It's precision, focus, and unwavering resolve. It's the awareness that you control yourself first. And from that foundation, you influence the world around you. Every time you encounter adversity, every setback, every distraction, it becomes an opportunity to strengthen your mental armor. You stop seeking approval because you no longer need it. Your decisions are guided by clarity, skill, and an understanding of consequences rather than fleeting emotions. This is the essence of a ruthless mind, calm under fire, strategic under pressure, and untouchable in its discipline. Control your emotions. The foundation of a ruthless mind begins with mastering your emotions. Most people allow their feelings to dictate their actions. Anger, fear, frustration, or anxiety hijack their decisions and weaken their presence. A mind that is truly ruthless does not surrender to these impulses. It observes them, understands them, and acts only when strategy, not emotion, demands it. Anger becomes a tool, not a weapon aimed blindly, and fear becomes information, not a chain. Every moment of emotional reaction that goes unchecked is a loss of power. When you control your emotions, you control the pace, the energy, and the environment around you. People who cannot manage their feelings appear volatile, unpredictable in the wrong way, and ultimately easy to manipulate. Those who have mastered themselves, however, radiate a presence that commands attention without a single word. Controlling your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging them without letting them control your behavior. It is the difference between a mind that explodes under pressure and a mind that navigates crises with precision. You learn to pause before responding, to weigh the consequences of every action, and to act only in a way that strengthens your position. Anger, when channeled correctly, fuels focus. Frustration, when recognized, becomes insight. Fear, when examined, becomes preparation. The ruthless mind uses every internal signal to enhance its strategy rather than sabotage it. This level of emotional mastery also forces others to respect and even fear your composure. People are naturally unsettled by those who remain calm in chaos, who do not react impulsively, and who can think clearly while others falter. By controlling your emotions, you send a signal that you are untouchable, that you are not swayed by provocation, and that you cannot be easily manipulated. You create a mental barrier that makes your presence commanding and your decisions unassailable. Every conflict, every challenge, and every confrontation becomes an opportunity to demonstrate control, to project strength, and to enforce authority. Learning to control your emotions is a daily practice. It requires self-awareness, reflection, and the discipline to pause in moments when instinct screams for immediate reaction. It demands that you look at every trigger, every irritation, every stressor as a test of your mental fortitude. And with every test you pass, your mind becomes sharper, your judgment more precise, and your ability to influence the environment around you more potent. Emotional control is not optional for those who aspire to a ruthless mindset. It is the first step, the foundation, and the constant exercise that separates those who are powerful in presence from those who are merely loud in reaction. Once you achieve this level of emotional mastery, everything else follows. Clarity in decision-making, strategic thinking under pressure, and the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you are in complete control of your most critical resource, your mind. Think several steps ahead. A ruthless mind does not act blindly. It operates like a master chess player, constantly anticipating moves, reactions, and outcomes before anyone else even begins to consider them. Most people live in the moment. They respond to events as they occur, reacting impulsively without foresight. A mind that thinks several steps ahead sees beyond the immediate, understanding that every choice sets off a chain reaction. It calculates possibilities, predicts behaviors, and positions itself to benefit from every scenario, even those that appear unfavorable. Anticipation becomes your weapon, and foresight becomes your armor. Thinking ahead requires clarity and patience. It demands that you resist the temptation to act on instinct alone and instead take the time to survey the entire landscape of a situation. Every word you speak, every gesture you make, every decision you take carries consequences. The ruthless mind considers these consequences not as distant possibilities, but as inevitable outcomes that must be accounted for. By mapping out multiple pathways and preparing for contingencies, you create a mental framework that allows you to respond with precision rather than panic. This mindset also allows you to predict the intentions and weaknesses of others. When you understand human behavior, patterns, and motivations, you gain an invisible advantage over those who operate impulsively. You notice hesitation, detect bluffing, and read between the lines of conversation, seeing moves before they are made. Your ability to think ahead turns interactions into strategic opportunities. While others stumble over their impulses, you move deliberately, striking at the most effective moment. Thinking several steps ahead is not limited to high-stakes scenarios. It applies to every aspect of life. In business, anticipating objections and preparing counters ensures you are never caught off guard. In personal relationships, understanding potential reactions and outcomes prevents unnecessary conflict and strengthens your influence. Under pressure, this foresight allows you to remain calm while chaos rages around you. People who think ahead are not just reactive, they are proactive, guiding events rather than being guided by them. This level of strategic thinking requires practice and discipline. It means visualizing multiple scenarios, weighing potential outcomes, and deciding in advance how you will respond. It requires patience because the best moves are often not the fastest. By continuously training your mind to anticipate, calculate, and adjust, you create a presence that others feel before you even speak. People instinctively recognize your ability to see the path ahead and respect your judgment. Thinking several steps ahead transforms you from a participant in life into a commander of circumstances. You are no longer at the mercy of chance, emotion, or the actions of others. Instead, you set the stage, control the tempo, and determine the trajectory of events around you. Your mind becomes a strategic engine, constantly evaluating, predicting, and positioning, making hesitation, chaos, and indecision foreign to your nature. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to exercise foresight, every challenge a test of preparation, and every decision a calculated move in the larger game of influence and control. Detach from approval. A ruthless mind does not seek validation from others. Most people live their lives chained to the opinions, judgments, and expectations of those around them. They measure their worth by likes, nods, compliments, or approval. surrendering their power to forces outside themselves. To cultivate a mind that is truly unstoppable, you must break free from this need. Decisions should be guided by clarity, strategy, and your understanding of what is right for you, not by fleeting admiration or criticism from others. The moment you allow someone else's approval to dictate your actions, you give them control over your mind, and control is the foundation of power. Detaching from approval requires a deep understanding of your own values, goals, and standards. It demands that you cultivate self-trust so strong that outside opinions become irrelevant noise. This doesn't mean you ignore feedback or refuse to learn. It means you evaluate it through the lens of discernment, keeping what aligns with your purpose and discarding what distracts or diminishes your focus. A mind that is unshakable recognizes the difference between constructive guidance and external influence meant to manipulate or limit you. When you detach from approval, you gain freedom. You no longer act out of fear of judgment or the desire to fit in. Your actions become deliberate, measured, and rooted in your own strategy. People notice the difference immediately. There is a quiet authority in someone who does not bend to others' expectations, a magnetic force that commands attention without the need to shout or perform. You stop chasing validation, and suddenly you begin attracting respect. People naturally recognize strength when it is unselfconscious, when it is grounded in self-assured purpose rather than desperation for acceptance. Detachment also protects you from manipulation. Those who seek to control others often exploit the need for approval, using praise, criticism, or rejection as levers to influence behavior. When your mind is free from these dependencies, manipulation becomes ineffective. You observe without reacting, decide without hesitation, and move through interactions with precision. Your presence becomes unpredictable, your intentions clear only to yourself, and your power undeniable. Practicing this mindset requires vigilance and patience. Every time you catch yourself seeking permission, validation, or applause, remind yourself that your worth is internal, not external. Every decision should be measured against your own standards, every goal aligned with your personal strategy, every action filtered through your own judgment. The more consistently you detach from approval, the more resilient your mind becomes. You learn to stand alone, to trust your instincts, and to operate without reliance on others' approval. This is the hallmark of mental ruthlessness, a mind that is unshakable, self-directed, and untouchable by the fleeting opinions of the world. When you reach this level of detachment, the energy you once spent seeking acceptance transforms into focus, strategy, and influence. You move through life with clarity, unaffected by outside noise, and every interaction becomes an opportunity to assert your presence and protect your power. People will respect you not because you seek their approval, but because you have mastered the ability to act from a place of complete self-trust and unwavering purpose. Use silence as a weapon. Silence is one of the most underestimated tools in the arsenal of a ruthless mind. Most people feel compelled to fill every pause with words, explanations, or reactions, believing that silence is weakness or uncertainty. In reality, silence is power. It creates space for observation, for calculation, and for strategy. When you refuse to speak impulsively, you force others to reveal themselves, to show their intentions, and often to overcommit or expose their weaknesses. The person who wields silence intentionally is not passive. They are commanding the room, controlling the energy, and setting the terms of engagement without ever raising their voice. Using silence effectively requires patience and discipline. It means resisting the urge to respond immediately to provocation, criticism, or pressure. Every pause is an opportunity to assess, to understand the dynamics at play, and to decide the most advantageous course of action. Silence is not absence. It is presence amplified. The absence of unnecessary words makes your presence more pronounced. Others begin to notice the calm confidence, the unshakable poise, and the unspoken authority that radiates from someone who does not feel compelled to justify themselves. It creates uncertainty in others because people fear what they cannot predict. Silence also enhances your ability to listen deeply. By refraining from constant commentary, You gain access to the thoughts, emotions, and intentions of those around you. You see patterns in behavior, detect hesitations, and pick up on subtleties that are invisible to those who speak too freely. Knowledge becomes your weapon, and the more you understand, the more strategic your moves can be. In negotiation, confrontation, or high-stakes decision-making, silence can shift power. It forces others to fill the void, often revealing more than they intended, while you remain calm, collected, and in control. Furthermore, silence cultivates an aura of unpredictability. When people cannot anticipate your reaction, when they are unsure of your thoughts or intentions, they become cautious, hesitant, and more likely to defer to your presence. Uncertainty in others is a direct form of influence. You do not need to intimidate through words, anger, or aggression. Your composed silence creates authority that is far more compelling. The mind that understands when to speak and when to remain quiet is a mind that commands attention effortlessly. Mastering the use of silence requires practice. It demands awareness of your impulses, restraint from habitual speech, and the courage to remain still while others rush to act. Each pause strengthens your strategic position, each measured response amplifies your influence, and each moment of calm under pressure reinforces the perception of control. Silence, when used intentionally, becomes a shield, a sword, and a signal that your mind operates on a level above reaction. It communicates confidence, intelligence, and dominance without uttering a single word. In cultivating this skill, you begin to realize that your power does not come from constant action or explanation. It comes from the strategic absence of both, allowing you to observe, decide, and move with precision, while others reveal themselves through their own noise. The silence you maintain is not emptiness. It is an invisible force, a presence that unsettles, commands, and directs the energy of every space you occupy, making you a figure of respect, authority, and quiet, undeniable power. Develop unshakable confidence. Unshakable confidence is the hallmark of a ruthless mind. It is not arrogance, bravado, or empty self-assurance. It is a deep, unwavering belief in your abilities, your preparation, and your judgment. Most people confuse confidence with performance or recognition, but true confidence originates from mastery. It comes from doing the work, knowing your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, and being willing to confront challenges head-on. A mind that is truly ruthless does not rely on others to validate its worth. It draws power from preparation, skill, and clarity of purpose. Confidence rooted in competence is visible. It shows in the way you move, the way you speak, and the way you respond under pressure. People sense it instantly. They recognize when someone carries certainty, not as a facade, but as an internal truth. This kind of confidence changes the dynamic of every interaction. Others hesitate because they can feel the deliberate power in your presence, the calm precision in your decisions, and the unspoken authority in your posture. When your mind is unshakable, you do not need to assert dominance through aggression or loudness. Your mere presence commands respect. Developing this level of confidence requires rigorous self-awareness. You must know your limits and push them deliberately. You must practice until competence becomes instinct, until hesitation fades and action becomes precise. Every skill you sharpen, every challenge you overcome, and every adversity you navigate strengthens the foundation of confidence. Confidence grows exponentially when it is forged through experience rather than borrowed from ego or external validation. The more you prove to yourself what you are capable of, the less anyone else's opinion matters. Unshakable confidence also requires resilience in the face of failure. People who rely solely on reassurance crumble when criticized, challenged, or confronted with unexpected obstacles. The ruthless mind embraces failure as a teacher, as an opportunity to refine strategy and expand capability. Confidence does not mean you never doubt yourself. It means you act despite doubt, guided by preparation and clarity rather than emotion or fear. Each time you face uncertainty and move forward with calm resolve, your mind becomes stronger, sharper, and more commanding. Furthermore, unshakable confidence allows you to make decisions with authority. You no longer second-guess or vacillate. You speak when necessary, act decisively, and follow through with precision. This decisiveness is magnetic, drawing trust, respect, and cooperation from others. It communicates that you are not easily swayed, manipulated, or intimidated. It signals that your mind operates with clarity, focus, and unwavering determination. Confidence becomes a shield and a tool, protecting you from doubt and fear while empowering you to influence your environment. It allows you to maintain composure under pressure, command authority in negotiation, and navigate adversity with calm efficiency. The mind that cultivates unshakable confidence transforms hesitation into action, uncertainty into strategy, and potential into results. It is not visible only in words or gestures. It is evident in every choice, every pause, and every movement, projecting power that cannot be ignored. Every day, confidence is strengthened by preparation, reflection, and deliberate action. Every challenge you meet, every skill you master, and every obstacle you overcome solidifies a mental state that is untouchable, disciplined, and ruthlessly effective. Unshakable confidence is not given. It is earned, cultivated, and defended as the core of a mind that commands influence and respect wherever it moves. Embrace adversity. A ruthless mind understands that adversity is not an obstacle to avoid. It is a tool to sharpen your strength, refine your strategy, and reveal your true capacity. Most people see challenges as threats, as setbacks that sap energy and confidence. The ruthless mind, however, recognizes that every difficulty is a test of focus, resilience, and mental discipline. When life becomes uncomfortable, when pressure mounts, or when circumstances turn against you, that is precisely when your mind is being forged. Adversity exposes weaknesses, both external and internal, and provides the opportunity to confront them, adapt, and emerge stronger than before. Embracing adversity requires a fundamental shift in perspective. Challenges are not punishments, they are opportunities. Every conflict, failure, or unexpected twist is a chance to practice control, to refine your judgment, and to develop resilience that cannot be taught in comfort. When others crumble under stress, you remain calm, observing, analyzing, and acting with precision. This mindset transforms difficulty into advantage. The ruthless mind does not fear pressure. It leverages it, using every strain as a mechanism to test limits and expand capability. Each setback becomes a lesson, each obstacle a training ground for discipline and strategic thinking. This approach also requires emotional mastery. Adversity is uncomfortable by nature, and the instinctive reaction for most people is panic, anger, or despair. The ruthless mind, however, understands that emotional reaction is wasted energy. Instead of surrendering to frustration or fear, it converts tension into focus, chaos into clarity, and uncertainty into strategic advantage. By maintaining composure when others lose theirs, you signal not only internal strength but also an aura of authority that is recognized subconsciously by everyone around you. People instinctively sense who is in control, and those who can withstand adversity command respect without needing to assert dominance aggressively. Embracing adversity also means seeking growth in every difficult experience. Mistakes, failures, and confrontations are not endpoints. They are data points. They provide insight into strategy, reveal patterns in human behavior, and highlight areas for improvement. The ruthless mind does not avoid discomfort. It pursues it strategically, knowing that mastery of self is built in the crucible of challenge. Every hardship faced and conquered strengthens mental fortitude, sharpens judgment, and deepens confidence, creating a feedback loop of growth that is both relentless and invisible to those who only see results without understanding the effort behind them. Furthermore, adversity tests commitment to purpose. It separates those who are truly disciplined from those who are inconsistent, those who persevere from those who give in to convenience. The ruthless mind embraces this test, viewing every trial as a measure of dedication, focus, and inner resolve. Challenges are no longer interruptions. They become a proving ground for character and strategy. Each struggle overcome reinforces the mindset that nothing external has the power to destabilize you, that every obstacle is temporary, and that true power is cultivated in response, not in avoidance. Through adversity, the mind becomes sharper, calmer, and more calculated. You learn to anticipate resistance, adapt quickly to shifting circumstances, and maintain authority even in the most volatile situations. Hardship is not something to dread. It is the very environment in which a ruthless mind thrives, evolving steadily into a force that cannot be shaken, undermined, or underestimated. A ruthless mind understands the subtle but undeniable truth. People fear what they cannot predict or control. Strength is not always measured in physical prowess, loud words, or visible aggression. The most intimidating force is often invisible: strategic calm, mental clarity, and unshakable discipline. When others cannot anticipate your actions or influence your decisions, they feel uncertainty, hesitation, and even fear. This is not about threatening anyone. It is about cultivating a presence that naturally commands respect because it operates beyond the grasp of manipulation. The mind that remains composed while chaos swirls around it becomes an anchor in any environment, projecting authority without aggression. Psychology reveals that humans are hardwired to respond to unpredictability with caution. When someone remains calm, observant, and measured, others subconsciously sense a level of control they cannot match. This control creates influence. People become tentative in your presence because your mental steadiness signals that every move you make is calculated, purposeful, and deliberate. They understand, even if only intuitively, that attempting to manipulate, provoke, or challenge you carries risk. The ruthless mind leverages this understanding. By cultivating self-discipline and strategic foresight, you gain an advantage that is far more effective than confrontation or intimidation. Ruthlessness in the mental sense is a mindset rooted in clarity and focus. It is the ability to assess situations without bias, to recognize patterns in behavior, and to anticipate consequences before they manifest. While many react emotionally to external stimuli, the ruthless mind observes, analyzes, and acts with precision. This difference is subtle but profound. One person reacts impulsively and is guided by emotion, while the other maneuvers strategically and maintains an aura of authority simply by remaining composed. It is not about being unkind. It is about being effective, deliberate, and influential in ways that others cannot easily counter. This mindset also relies on understanding human behavior and leveraging it without being swayed by it. People are influenced by social cues, reactions, and expressions of emotion. The ruthless mind recognizes these tendencies and uses them to its advantage, remaining impervious to manipulation while subtly guiding outcomes. By mastering your own mental state, you create an environment where others feel cautious, observant, and respectful. Your power lies not in force, but in mental clarity and psychological leverage. The strategic mind understands that influence begins internally. When your thoughts are disciplined, your emotions controlled, and your actions deliberate, you exert a subtle but potent form of authority. Others sense your presence, your composure, and your capacity to navigate challenges effortlessly. The unpredictability of a calm, strategic, and self-assured mind generates respect and a natural hesitancy in those who might otherwise attempt to challenge you. Mastering this insight transforms ordinary interactions into opportunities to assert presence, influence decisions, and maintain control without needing to overtly dominate. This psychological mastery is the essence of mental ruthlessness. It is the combination of clarity, foresight, and emotional discipline that makes a mind formidable, commanding, and inherently respected. Those who have cultivated it operate above impulse, above fear, and above the sway of others, moving through the world with a quiet but undeniable authority that is both influential and intimidating. A ruthless mind is most powerful when it is applied to real-life situations. In the workplace, for example, those who remain calm, strategic, and observant gain an advantage over colleagues who act impulsively or emotionally. Negotiation is not about being louder or more aggressive. It is about anticipating objections, understanding hidden motivations, and positioning yourself so that every move is calculated to achieve the desired outcome. When you approach discussions with foresight and composure, people naturally defer to your authority, often without realizing why. In personal relationships, mental ruthlessness protects your boundaries and ensures you are not manipulated or drained by toxic influences. By remaining calm in the face of provocation, observing patterns of behavior, and responding deliberately rather than emotionally, you maintain control of the interaction. Silence, strategic detachment, and measured responses allow you to navigate conflicts without losing your power or composure. Those who attempt to provoke or manipulate you quickly recognize that their usual tactics are ineffective, which creates both respect and a subtle fear of crossing you. Even under extreme stress or in high-pressure situations, the ruthless mind thrives. Crises, confrontations, and unpredictable events become opportunities to demonstrate composure, clarity, and strategic thinking. While others panic or react impulsively, you remain anchored, assessing the environment, predicting outcomes, and taking deliberate action. This ability to stay calm and decisive under pressure is not just a personal advantage, it signals to everyone around you that your mind cannot be easily shaken. In every context, the practical application of a ruthless mindset transforms ordinary situations into opportunities for influence, control, and strategic advantage. Every conversation, every decision, and every interaction becomes a test of your discipline and foresight, allowing you to operate from a position of strength while others operate from reaction. A ruthless mind is not about harming others. It is about safeguarding your power, your presence, and your purpose. When your thoughts are disciplined and your decisions are deliberate, you radiate an authority that cannot be challenged. People sense it instinctively, respecting your boundaries and hesitating before testing them. Every action you take is rooted in clarity, self-mastery, and strategic intent. Your influence grows naturally because you operate from strength rather than reaction. When your mind is unshakable, you move through the world with confidence, calm, and precision, and others instinctively recognize that crossing you carries consequences they cannot predict. Build a mind so disciplined, so strategic, and so unstoppable that it becomes untouchable. When you master your thoughts, you master everything, and no one dares stand in your way. This is not hyperbole. It is the reality of mental dominance. The mind that has been honed through control, foresight, emotional mastery, detachment, and strategic observation becomes a force that moves silently but decisively. People feel it before they even interact with you. They sense the calm confidence, the measured presence, and the unwavering certainty that signals you are operating from a level of awareness and preparation they cannot reach. Every decision you make, every action you take, and every pause you observe is a declaration of authority. You no longer react to the chaos of the world, you shape it. Obstacles become predictable, challenges become opportunities, and people who attempt to manipulate or provoke you quickly recognize that their tactics fail before they even begin. Your mind acts as both shield and sword, protecting your integrity while enabling you to influence outcomes with precision. You project power without aggression, control without intimidation, and dominance without noise. The world begins to bend subtly to the clarity and decisiveness you bring to every situation, and respect is earned automatically because your presence is anchored in competence and strategy. This level of mental ruthlessness requires continuous vigilance and dedication. It demands that you question your impulses, anticipate consequences, and refine your skills constantly. Every challenge you face, every moment of tension, and every interaction becomes a training ground for further mastery. You learn to turn adversity into advantage, uncertainty into insight, and pressure into clarity. The more you practice these principles, the more natural they become, until the ruthless mind operates instinctively. You no longer hesitate, second-guess, or flinch, The path forward is clear, and your steps are deliberate, calculated, and confident. With this mind, your influence is felt in every domain of life. Negotiations, confrontations, and high-stakes decisions are no longer tests of luck. They are exercises in strategic control. You move through challenges with composure, guiding outcomes while others scramble in reaction. People instinctively recognize authority because it radiates from your mental state, not from volume or force. Your presence becomes magnetic, commanding attention and respect without uttering a single unnecessary word. Ultimately, this is the essence of being untouchable, a mind so disciplined, focused, and unwavering that it shapes the world around it rather than being shaped by it. Every thought, every decision, and every action is executed with precision and intent. You are a force defined not by aggression or dominance, but by clarity, preparation, and relentless self-mastery. When your mind reaches this level, you command not only respect and influence, but also the unspoken fear that comes from recognizing true mental power. In every interaction, every decision, and every challenge, your presence signals one undeniable truth. Crossing you is a risk no one can afford to take because your mind operates on a plane they cannot anticipate, match, or control.